Happy Friday! It's Dr. Bridget Young from babyformulaexpert.com here for another happy hour. My name is Bridget Young. I'm a doctor of perinatal nutrition, a certified lactation counselor, and founder of babyformulaexpert.com. Here with wet hair. I just got out of the shower because I got a shower today. So today we are going to be talking all about organic baby formulas and the options you have if you live in the U.S., which most of you do. I have my first glass of wine for the evening. I'm feeling really good. My husband took the boys for a walk, so I'm really feeling good. Hopefully we'll get through this with minimal interruption. So now we can begin. Okay, so the most important thing to note about organic baby formulas in the U.S. is every single organic formula on the market in the United States is an intact protein formula, meaning the proteins are not messed with molecularly. They're all the same size they were when they came out of the cow. This isn't contrary to partially hydrolyzed or fully hydrolyzed formulas. So that's why when I get the question all the time, but should I be getting an organic formula? And my answer is always, that's not the most important question to ask. So you need to decide for your baby what type of protein source is best for them. Is it okay if they're on an intact protein, or do they need a partially hydrolyzed? If intact protein is okay for them, then yes, I do think organic is best if you can afford it. If they need a partially hydrolyzed protein, and that makes them more comfortable, then I think that's way more important than having an organic, because you don't have an organic option. So with that out of the way, today I want to spend some time kind of breaking down your organic options and comparing the differences between brands, so that if you're comfortable with an organic intact protein formula, this video should help you make a decision pretty easily without going down the black hellhole of internet research on formula and infant feeding, which I'm totally a part of, but you can get into some messed up stuff that way. So, okay, all organic formulas are intact protein. So next, I'm going to just review real quickly kind of the different criteria or the different categories of ingredients that might be important to you if you're considering an organic formula, so that you know these are the ingredients that I'll compare and contrast between brands. So the very first one is, of course, the macronutrients. This is like the bulk of the formula. So it's your protein, your carbohydrate, and your fat. So all of those different things can vary within an individual formula. And that's going to be the most important, because that's obviously the bulk of where all the calories are coming from. Next is sort of the sexy extras. Some organic formulas have sexy extras, some don't. The extras that are included in some organic formulas are prebiotics, lutein, and lycopene. So I'll hit all those when I talk about each individual brand. Next is hexane extracted ingredients. So this is your DHA and your ARA, which are fatty acids. Some families would like to avoid hexane extracted sources of DHA and ARA. And usually these are the type of families that are also hoping to try to find an organic formula. So I'll be sure to hit that when I talk about each formula. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I would suggest not worrying about it. And it's something to consider only if your baby's having some pretty severe tolerance issues. You know, I gotta tell you, I always do my bangs right before this, and then I end up touching them all the time. I should just let them be the fuzz frizz mess they are, but right before I get on camera. Okay. Last, well, not last, almost last, is the category that I refer to as lab-derived ingredients. So these are more molecular ingredients that are present in breast milk, but that we make in a lab to add to some formulas. They're not required by the FDA, so your baby will grow fine without them. They do make a formula closer to breast milk, technically, and that breast milk has them, but the formulation of how they are in formula is not the same as how they are in breast milk. It doesn't make my decision one way or the other, but it depends on your individual baby. But some families really want to avoid those and want a more simplified formula. So I'll hit this category to tell you, and what are included are these are nucleotides, carnitine, and taurine. So I kind of group all those together, and I'll just let you know whether or not a certain organic formula provides those. And then last, but very not least, is price. Of course, you got a nice range in price for organic formulas, all of which are more expensive than non-organic formulas, which does make sense. But I'll try to remember to let you know the price too, at least when it's really relevant. Okay, moving on to our actual chart. So let's get into the meat of it. I'm gonna have a sip of wine and then we can go. Oh, that's lovely. I'm having wine from a glass bottle today as opposed to a cardboard box, so watch out. It's going to be a wild night. Okay, so I'm trying to go through these strategically so that it's not confusing, but feel free to watch this video a couple times if you need to sort of take notes and go back. The first organic formula is probably the most common, and this is Similac Organic. Similac's the only brand of the big three, Similac, Enfamil, and Gerber, that have an organic formula. And they have one, Similac Organic. It's kind of a green label. I'm going to level with you. I always say there's no such thing as a perfect formula, and there is no such thing as a poison formula, but I am really not a fan of Similac Organic formula, which just breaks my heart because it's organic. If you are feeding it, just turn this video off and don't pay attention. It's fine. Like if your baby is thriving and growing, it's great. If you're considering your options, these are the reasons I'm not a huge fan. The protein source is just non-fat milk. So all these organic formulas are cow's milk based, but if you've been to the website, you know that I like it to be cow's milk, but then with a little bit of cow's milk whey added as a protein source to increase the amount of whey, because breast milk has far more whey than casein proteins. And cow's milk is the other way around. So I like when a formula adds extra whey back to make the ratio more similar to breast milk. And it affects how quickly the milk empties the stomach and the enzymes that are needed to digest these different proteins. So without dwelling too much, I don't like it when a formula does not add extra whey, especially if it's going to be marketed to a newborn. So that is the case for Similac Organic. It's just non-fat milk, so it's going to have roughly 80% casein, 20% whey. So I'm not a huge fan of that. And next, carbohydrate. The carbohydrate in Similac's organic formula is the only ingredients on the label is maltodextrin and then sugar, or sucrose if you're a nerd like me. So that's table sugar. Now this formula does have 28% of its carbohydrate as lactose. That's because there's lactose in the non-fat milk in the protein, but you don't see it on the label. So it's 45% maltodextrin, 27% sucrose, and 28% lactose. So I do not like seeing sucrose in a formula. For my orgo-chem nerds, the rest of you bear with me for a hot second. Sucrose is a disaccharide of glucose and fructose, meaning it's going to be metabolized into 50% fructose, and there is no fructose in breast milk. It's metabolized differentially in the liver and can put a strain on the liver, and I don't want to do that for an infant. So I'm not a huge fan of Similac adding sucrose to this formula, and they do. Maltodextrin is glucose-based, and so it's going to have a different metabolic strain than sucrose. Okay. Orgo nerd hat, back off. The point being, I don't really like seeing table sugar on the label, which most people can agree with. Okay, next, so those are your fat, your protein, your carb. Next is fat. I do really like the fat blend in Similac formulas because they are the only formula on the market that doesn't use palm oil. So theirs is, I highlighted it and it's really hard to read, hyaluronic sunflower oil, soy oil, and coconut oil. So no palm oil. If your kiddo is really prone to constipation, palm oil might be something that you want to consider avoiding. It's hardly dangerous, but it can increase the stiffness of stool. So if you're one of those families that's prone to, the tiny little rocks in the diaper, it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, extra with Similac Organic. It does have lutein and lycopene and fructooligosaccharides, which is a prebiotic. And it has a pretty high concentration of prebiotic, more so than most of the other organic formulas. So I think that's a plus. In terms of your lab-derived ingredients, it has all of them: nucleotides, taurine, and carnitine. And it does have DHA and ARA, and it has a pretty high concentration, the highest concentration of DHA of any organic formula on the market. So if you are looking for a lot of DHA, Similac's formulas do provide a little bit more. So to summarize, Similac Organic, probably the most popular, but I'm not a huge fan. So if you're just going to try one and you're going cold turkey, I would suggest not starting with this one. The reason is it has no additional whey. It adds, so it's lactose reduced, but uses sucrose in part to reduce the concentration of lactose. Pluses, it has no palm oil. It's got a great concentration of prebiotic, and it has a great concentration of DHA, which is a positive for some and a negative for others. It does have lutein and lycopene, and honestly, it's just my personal opinion. I don't really care about that. Sorry, Similac. Okay, the others will go quicker because I'll be able to move through these more quickly. So, cheers. Natalie, my friend Natalie's watching, and she's gonna have a baby. I love you, Natalie, and I love your new baby. Okay, next, I'm gonna throw in 2 honorable mentions here that technically don't fall in this category of organic formulas. The first is Pure Bliss, which is a Similac formula. It is not organic, but it is grass-fed. Why in God's name aren't all of our formulas organic and grass-fed? I have no idea. I'm on a one-woman mission to change that, but in the meantime, this is what we have available in the US. So it's not organic, but it is grass-fed. So I kind of lump it in that category if you're looking for more of a specialized formula with quality ingredients. So a grass-fed cow, they have just better animal husbandry techniques, and that makes for a happier, a truly healthier, less inflammatory cow, which can affect some of the quality of the milk. I have a whole happy hour about it if you want to hear more. So I'm not going to say more, but I am going to go over the ingredients right now. So 1, the protein, it's just non-fat milk and whey added. Perfect. Carbohydrate, 100% lactose. Great. The fat blend is exactly the same as the Similac Organic, so no palm oil. Awesome. Extras, it has galacto-oligosaccharides, which is another prebiotic, so feeds healthy bacteria. And it does have lutein, no lycopene. Again, I don't know. The L's, the luteins and lycopenes, they don't mean that much to me. But the prebiotic is the same or close to the same concentration as the one in Similac Organic, so pretty dang high compared to the others in this category. Lab-derived ingredients, it has all of them. Nucleotides, taurine, carnitine, and it also has the high concentration of DHA. So if you're looking for a formula that has a good amount of DHA, that has a prebiotic, and that's organic, again, Pure Bliss is not organic, but I'd encourage you to consider it. And if you're deciding between Pure Bliss and Similac Organic, I'd highly recommend the Pure Bliss over the organic, even though it's not organic. I think the ingredients are quality. You know what I say is like organic table sugar is still table sugar. So that matters more to me. So I'm just sharing my personal opinion. So those are the Similac formulas. The next formula is not as popular, but I do see it being used. It's called Vermont Organics. And the reason I'm doing it next is it's really similar to the Similac Organic, but has a few subtle differences. So which I like a tiny bit more. So the protein source is just non-fat milk. So again, no extra whey, which I'm not a huge fan of. If you're feeding it and your baby's doing great, ignore me. The carbohydrate source is similar to Similac Organic, but they don't use sucrose. They use a glucose replacement for lactose. So on the label, you see corn syrup solids and maltodextrin, which are just various combinations of strings of glucose. So the formula does still provide 27% lactose, even though you don't see it on the label because the lactose kind of comes in with the non-fat milk. And then all of the rest comes from a glucose base. So you have no fructose in the formula. So I like that. That's the tweak from the Similac Organic. And I like that tweak that if you want lactose reduced, I'd rather have a glucose-based replacement for lactose as opposed to table sugar. The fat blend does have palm oil. So then this is almost all the formulas have the same fat blend. Similac is special because it has no palm oil. All the other formulas, except for one exception we'll deal next, have the following fat blend: palm oil, soy oil, coconut oil, and then a high oleic oil, either sunflower and or safflower oil. And they usually don't even distinguish. They usually say sunflower/safflower. So, and that's fine. That's almost universal. Similac's really unique in avoiding palm oil, even though I wished others did more. Okay, so Vermont also has fructooligosaccharides and lutein, just like Similac's formulas, except they do a little bit less prebiotic. It's a slightly lower concentration. It only has taurine and nucleotides, no carnitine. And it does have DHA, so it does have hexane extracted ingredients, but just at a slightly less concentration than Similac. So honestly, I look at this and I'm like, it looks to me like these formulas are probably made by the same manufacturer. And so they just do these tiny tweaks on the machine and then you can put a different label on them and market them separately. So the tweaks in this one are a little less prebiotic and table sugar is replaced by glucose syrup solids, which I actually prefer. So but the price is a little higher. Similac Organic is $128 per ounce and Vermont is $154 per ounce. Just FYI. Okay, next. This is the next formula I'm going to talk about is the other exception to the palm oil. And it is also an exception to the organics because I want to just give an honorable mention to Babies Only Whey formula. The reason it's not technically included as Babies Only is not an infant formula. It is a toddler formula. However, the vast majority of people using it are using it with infants under 12 months. And so if you're researching organic formulas, you're going to come across it. So I wanted to mention it. I have an entire happy hour about the differences between toddler and infant formulas. I talk about Babies Only a lot, so you know what you're getting into. And if you're going to consider it for a baby under 12 months, I really highly suggest you watch it so you can have a conversation with your doctor. Honestly, I love this formula, and I wish to God they would just go through the effort of getting it approved as an infant formula. But I don't love it for everyone. So you really need to make the decision based on your individual baby with your doctor. So Babies Only Whey, not their standard just dairy. It's their whey. It's kind of a lighter blue color. The protein source is whey and non-fat milk. So it has that ratio I'm looking for. Great. The carbohydrate is 100% lactose. Fabulous. The fat blend is the same as Similac's fat blend. It's sunflower or safflower, soy, and coconut oil. So no palm oil. And that's it. It's just the Similac formulas and the Babies Only formula, if you're looking at organic, that avoid palm oil. Every other formula uses the exact same fat blend, which is palm, coconut, soy, and sun/safflower. So I probably won't mention it again. So Babies Only is special in that way. It avoids the palm oil. It's a real stripped down formula, meaning it doesn't have a lot of these extras. It's got no prebiotic, no lutein, no lycopene, no lab-derived ingredients, nucleotides, no carnitine, no taurine, and the DHA, you can get it without DHA altogether, or they have a version that does have a non-hexane extracted DHA, which is derived from egg yolks, which I love. Again, why aren't more formula companies doing this? Well, I do know it's more expensive, but it makes me a little upset. Anyway, so if you want DHA, you can get it without hexane extracted processes, and if you want to avoid DHA, you can. So that's why I'm throwing it out there. I know you're going to come across it in your research. It's a very reasonable price, $118 per ounce. It's that reasonable, guys, because it's not FDA approved, so that adds cost. So just keep that in mind. So those are the differences. I really like the ingredients, but there are differences in the caloric density, the concentration of some of the minerals. So again, watch that happy hour and just be sure that you and your doctor are on the same page if you're going to use it for a baby under 12 months. Okay, next, we are just going to keep moving right along because I know the boys are going to be back from their walks soon because it's dark. I'm like watching it get darker, getting more and more nervous. Okay, so next I'm going to hit all the other major brands that you've heard of in the US. And remember that the fat blend from here on out is the same. It's that blend with palm oil, and every company uses the same one. So next is number 4, Plum. Plum organic formula is honestly, it's a great choice if you're looking for a simple kind of stripped down formula. If you're looking for something, more simplified. So the carbohydrate is non-fat milk and whey, the protein, which is just what I'm looking for. It's 100% lactose. That fat blend is the same as everybody else with the palm oil. It has no prebiotics, no probiotics. It does have taurine in it, but no carnitine, no nucleotides, and it does provide DHA. The same concentration as everyone else except Similac. Similac provides a little more, and then everybody else who has DHA has that same concentration. So that's Plum, and it's $1.48 per ounce. But I will say they have a great coupon on their site. I think it's $5 off, and you can just print as many as you want. So I didn't do the price differential if you use the $5 coupon, but if you're going to try Plum, or if you use it, girl, print yourself like 36 coupons and just keep them in your car. So that would dramatically reduce the price. And it's also really available. Like, they have it everywhere, so you don't have to worry about traveling and not being able to get it. So that's Plum. So it's a great option. Okay, the next formula is Happy Baby's organic formula. And I put it right after Plum because honestly, I'll go through it all, but pretty much eyeballing it, it's almost the exact same thing as Plum, except they add a crap ton of prebiotics. That was pretty crass. They add a lot of prebiotics. In fact, Happy Baby has the highest concentration of prebiotics of any formula on the market anywhere, including European formulas, at least that I have found. So they have a lot of prebiotics. So that's their marketing niche, and they have really tried to claim that area of growing a lot of healthy bacteria. So honestly, usually I think that's a good thing. I will say there's a baby out there who reacts negatively to every single ingredient in formula, including these prebiotics that we throw in. It's extremely rare, but I have personally worked with some cases where we finally figured out it was the prebiotic in the formula that was causing issues, and removing it, and magically baby was better. So for the average baby, I think it's wonderful to have a prebiotic, and the concentrations Happy Baby uses are very safe, but on the higher end. However, just you need to know what's different in your formula, and so for Happy Baby, it's the prebiotic. So blow through it quickly, just like Plum. Non-fat milk and whey for protein, lactose for carbohydrate, the same exact blend with palm oil for fat. Their prebiotic is 2 galacto-oligosaccharides and fructo-oligosaccharides in that really high concentration. They have no lab-derived ingredients, so no nucleotides, taurine or carnitine. And they do have DHA, the same as Plum, same source, same amount. And they're $1.31 per ounce. So cheaper than Plum, but probably not when you take into account the coupon. Okay. Next, so the last two brands, the last two brands I'm going to hit, I'll try to be quick, is Earth's Best. They have 3 organic formulas. And then The Honest Company has 2 organic formulas. And I think we can go through them quickly because they're relatively similar. I just want you to know the differences between the two, so that when if you're deciding to supplement or you're making a switch, you know which one you want to try first. And then if something goes wrong, you can come back to this video and see what you'd like to change. So let's do Earth's Best formulas first. I'm going to do them kind of all at once and just talk about the differences. So we've got Earth's Best standard dairy formula, that's the red can. Then you have Earth's Best sensitivity formula, which is the purple can. And then they have, this is harder to get, but it might be newish, is Earth's Best no DHA, which is their green can. So let's go through them all at once so you can see the differences. They all have the same protein. So we're starting with the same protein base, which is the non-fat milk with the extra whey. So that's great. The carbohydrate, their standard is 100% lactose. The Earth's Best no DHA, the green can, is basically the exact same thing as the standard, but just clearly no DHA. So there you go. There's the difference. And then the sensitivity is a lactose reduced formula, and it's very lactose reduced. So 99% of the carbohydrates come from corn syrup solids, which is glucose based, and 1% is from lactose. So just keep that in mind. This is, of your organic options, this is the lowest amount of lactose. So if your baby has a really intense lactose sensitivity and you want to do organic, this is the lowest you can get of lactose. So if that speaks to you, there you go. The fat blend is the same everybody else uses with the palm oil. All 3 of Earth's Best formulas have a prebiotic, fructo-oligosaccharides, that is like the same as the Vermont. So basically way lower than Happy Baby's. All 3 of Earth's Best formulas have nucleotides, carnitine, and taurine. And then both their standard and their sensitivity formula have DHA from hexane extracted oils, except obviously the no DHA formula has no DHA. So what else did I want to point out? So the Earth's Best red, their standard, is usually a good go-to for me if you want to start somewhere. And the reason is because it's the cheapest organic option you have on the market, even compared to Pure Bliss and Babies Only, which are toddler. It's cheaper than both of those. So, and it's got everything. So if you're not worried about avoiding certain ingredients, it has everything. It's got a prebiotic. It's just very standard. So that's the difference. And then the Earth's Best sensitivity, we've harped on the fact that it's the lowest lactose. So if you're looking for a very, very minimal lactose formula that's organic, that's the one for you to try. The last 2 are the Honest Company's formula, and they have taken a very similar approach to Earth's Best in formulating their formulas. They have a standard formula and a sensitive formula. I did a whole happy hour just a couple weeks ago about their standard formula because they recently changed the recipe. So I'm going to be talking about their new recipe because they're phasing out the old one, but both are still currently on the market depending on what store you go to. The new recipe has no glucose syrup solids in it. The old recipe does. So you'll know you're getting the new recipe because they have a little label on the front, like a marketing label that says no syrup solids, whereas the old one clearly doesn't say that. So that's how you'll know which one you're getting. If you order online from the Honest Company website, you still get the old one. So I am going to give you information for the new one because that's in the future if you're watching this. I'm sure I haven't gotten any new wrinkles and probably the only new one is on the market. Okay. So, and I'm going to do both at the same time. So the big difference in Honest Company's formulas is they were one of the first ones to say, you know what, we're not using any hexane extracted ingredients. And the way they go about that is just not by having any DHA at all. They sell a baby DHA supplement that you can add at home, but their formulas just don't have any at all. So that's similar to the Earth's Best no DHA formula. The protein source is non-fat milk plus whey for both the standard and the sensitive. The carbohydrate is what makes the sensitive. It's 100% lactose for the standard, and it's a combination of glucose syrup solids, maltodextrin, and lactose for the sensitive. So it's the formula has 26% lactose. The rest comes from glucose-based ingredients, which both maltodextrin and corn syrup solids are glucose-based. So if you're looking for a lactose-reduced formula, but you still want some lactose, that's how Honest Sensitive is different from Earth's Best Sensitive, how much lactose you're getting. The fat blend, same as everybody else with the palm oil. Both do provide fructooligosaccharides, roughly the same concentration that Earth's Best does. And Honest Company formulas have no DHA, and the sensitive has, the boys are home, you'll see them soon, I'm sure, has no nucleotides, carnitine, or taurine, whereas the standard does have taurine. So they're both relatively stripped down or simplified formulas. So the line is really similar to the Earth's Best line. Oh, it's okay, they can come in. My mother-in-law's here. So those are the differences between the two and kind of how they handle the approach. If you are still with me, God bless you. That was a lot of just rambling, just listing off ingredients. I should have said this first, but I do have, a nicer looking version of this on my website. If you go to babyformulaexpert.com/blog, it's in the blog part. I have basically everything I've given you verbally on the blog if you need to refer to it or check it on your phone at the grocery store. I'll end by saying I only did dairy formulas because as far as I know, I haven't researched into soy very much, but as far as I know, the only organic soy formula on the market is by Earth's Best. They do have a soy. And soy is just so different from dairy. I didn't include it here, but if you are on a soy formula and you're looking for an organic option, that's where you should go. And if you know of another one, definitely shoot me a message because I would like to know about it. Okay. That's that. I think we're done. I'm going to have one more sip of wine. If I can help you with your baby, if you guys are having some formula issues, I would love to be of help. I do free 15-minute consultations, and you can sign up right on Facebook or go to the website. You can click on the Work with Dr. Young tab and then sign up for a free 15-minute call. And I love to provide a little bit of help, especially as we come into this holiday season. Here's to sleeping through the night and less gas for everybody. All right, you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye.